I'm going to talk about playing the major scales, harmonized in triads, diatonic triads. When I first started learning about music, this is as a kid, and I had already been playing around with the guitar for a couple of years, but I felt that it was important for me to actually learn some of the basics about music, so I took some books out of the library. And the first thing I learned was about harmony and building chords, how to turn the major scale into chords. And that's always been the foundation for everything for me. So even my improvisation is based on that knowledge that I'm able to dig back into to make sense of things. Anyway, that's just the way I think about it. Everyone's got their own approach, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to show how it's possible to play the harmonized scale in all three inversions of the triads. Key of E flat, C6 tuning, 6 strings. Root position, first inversion. I'm going to play in that order. Now, some of those triads sounded a little bit dicey. This is not so much meant to just show you how to play the chords, but just to know where that harmony is, because even when you're playing a melody and when you're improvising, knowing where the harmony is around you on the neck can help you get from one place to another, or to help you spell out a melody that relates to the harmony. So, or it helps you deviate from the harmony because you can see the relationships. So that's one of the things that's really important for me. It's also important to be able to play the triads, because there's certain times where you're playing a chord melody and you've got the melody note up on top and you want to have some harmony underneath. If you know your triads, you don't need to know chords that are like, C13 flat 9 blah blah blah, because all that is really is triads stacked on top of each other. If you were to take a look at C major 7 chord, all it is a C major triad with an E minor triad stacked on top of it. And we can keep stacking triads on top of that and expanding the harmony. If you start to look into the way that chords are in relation to harmony, remember you're harmonizing in thirds. So you have your scale, you take your root note, you skip the second, you take the third, you skip the fourth, you take the fifth. So that's in thirds. Thirds means you skip over every other note. When you start to build your scales that way, and you start to harmonize, and you start to build thirds on top of thirds, and you uncover all these components of the harmony, it just really makes things start to make sense to you. So my advice is to really focus on that simple task of learning your major scale in triads, because it's the same for every key. If you learn it in the key of C, you'll know it for the key of G flat, and you can apply it. Once you start to see the patterns in the scale, you start off with major, then minor, then minor, then major, then major, then minor, then diminished, and then your major again. It's that pattern starting from the root all the way up to the octave for every key. So once you start to remember that pattern, you're on your way. So a lap steel tip, to me, it's the most important one.